Well, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about some crypto mining stocks today and some crypto stocks in general. Let's see. They might all be crypto mining stocks except for one, actually. We're going to talk about Wolf for Unlawful Law, Cores, Marathon, CleanSpark, and IREN for Cow, Argo Blockchain. I think that's Argo Blockchain, ARBK for Mark Black Fox, and then BITO for Babu. And I'm pretty sure BITO is the only ETF. I think everything else is a mining stock. So let's get started. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you guys for being here. I am in my hotel lobby right now, in this own little secluded kind of area, but there's voices still carry. So if you guys hear any background noise, that's probably what that is. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Hopefully you guys pick up more on me than on them. But whatever, whatever happens. Let me try to move some cords around here. I just got set up, man. But let's get started. Here we go. So Wolf first. Looking at the day-to-day here, you are in a position of strength, definitely on the daily. That's a nice breakout, decent volume here. Wolf is looking pretty damn bullish, isn't it? Let's see, this week it's up 26.86, finished off the week, closing like that, even with Bitcoin going down, right? Everybody was asking back in April, why are mining stocks going down but crypto's going up? And it's like, now crypto's going down but mining stocks are going up, right? So you can have things reverse, right? These are not directly tied to the price action itself of Bitcoin or other cryptos, but we are, in the bull market for crypto itself, so it makes sense that mining stocks would start to do well. From a relative high to a low here, breaking above the 886, absolutely that's a breakout above the 886. I would say you're on your way to $6.09, $10.28. You're at $3.92 now, and it doesn't stop there. You absolutely, I do believe, will continue to grow with Wolf. Whether that happens now, as in over the coming weeks, coming months, or if it takes a little bit more time to consolidate before you move up, remains to be seen. Looking at the weekly and the daily, I wouldn't be surprised if just over the weeks, within the next month to 2 months, you're probably going to be up in this area between about $6 to $10.30, somewhere around there. By the end of the summer, if not very early fall, I would expect that you're there, if not higher. So Wolf looking good, definitely looking pretty damn good. By the end of the cycle, I think it's got a lot higher price targets in mind. If we take that high to that low there, off of this nice little double bottom, you've broken above your 382 for your second time. The next target area would be your 618 to 69 zone, which is at that $8.25 to $11.31, so pretty damn close to that same area. 886 lining up with the 2272, that's nice. I mean, man, genuinely, Wolf, by the end of the cycle, you could be all the way up at $145, $659, somewhere in between. You've got the 3786 lining up directly over the 1414 here on this fib, so potentially you go to 270. But you're at 392 now, so that's a lot of growth left over the next year or so of the bull market. But for the more immediate terms, I would just say you're moving up. Any downside at all is probably going to be a good time to buy, genuinely. Looking at the 1 hour here, let's see. I mean, man, I think you're moving up. I think you're moving up. I do not think, yes, you have a gap here. I don't think you're moving back. I don't think you're going to fill that gap like this right here. That is your gap fill. I don't think you're going to go lower than that. I mean, maybe you do. You could. I just don't think you're going to go all the way back to directly fill that gap. You could, and if you do, any prices below where this gap filled is a steal to buy, right? Because you're going to come into areas of previous resistance. You could find a support, definitely, and then areas of previous support back in this consolidation zone too. Definitely a steal down there, but I don't even think you're going to get that. So if you're looking to load up on Wolf, it's got my vote of approval, but none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. The next one that we're going to talk about is Cores. Core Scientific. Looking good as well. Very dominant in its RSI. Very dominant in its price action. The volume is dying off a little bit, though. It's still up, but it's not. I don't know. It's definitely tapered off since the breakout. High to low, deep extensions hit. I mean, you're getting out of the territories of potentially respecting this fib here. You didn't really even respect it. I guess you did here. Resistance on the 886, support on the 618, very common maneuver before moving up to this exact area that you moved, so I suppose you are. 2618 kind of found resistance and support there at the same time. Maybe you move up to 1576. You're at 1033 now. That's really all we have to go off of, but you are very overbought on your daily RSI, 95 now. 95 does mean you're probably time-wise very near your high. relative high, not your all-time high for the cycle, but like relative high, before you consolidate for weeks, months, right? Before you have a nice phase of consolidation like this or longer, time-wise. But price-wise, I mean, you could double in price before you know what I mean? So time-wise, yes, I think you're very near your high over the days, over the weeks to come, but price-wise, I mean, it's really hard to say. And again, based off this fib, assuming you respect it, which once you get past the twos, I don't really look for respect most of the time, unless I do kind of like a deeper analysis and see that like prior in history that you've shown respect to these areas, which we just don't have that. So I suppose we could look at really small time frames, but I'm not going to do that for this one. I could do that in my free time, but I'm just not going to do that here. 1576, I would guess, would be your next potential target area. Sure, you could go higher, but these I have these lines here for a reason, but they're not always respected. The further away you get from these twos, like the less likely it is to be respected, unless certain conditions are present or unless like certain patterns are present within a chart's history, which again we just don't have. There's probably a list of rules that comes with deeper fib extensions that I just don't know about or don't utilize myself, but I feel like I know a good bit about fibs, and that's something that I don't normally look for, are deep extensions like this past the twos, because things get out of hand. They're less respected up there most of the time. But anyways, cores I do think is moving up. The 1 hour looks fine. The 3 hour looks fine. The daily looks fine. I mean, you're near it time wise. I don't know if that's the high. I'm not convinced, but I think soon. I think soon for sure. So that's the best I can do with it. That's the best I can do. I can't really give you a genuine price. The best price target that I can guess would be from the high point of this consolidation phase to the low point, going all the way up to the next 618 target, which is all the way up to the 3618 at $15.10. That's the best I can do. Maybe we could take that actual high there. Maybe if it's respected, you're at your 1618 here. I mean, it looks like you showed some respect on this, in which case maybe the 1886, 2272, $18, $13, something like that, right in between is $15. So those targets do make sense. You are at the 1618, but I don't think that you stop here. The 1 hour looks like it wants more. The 3 hour looks like it wants more. The 15 minute looks like it could go up as well. Like, it all looks productive. So I don't think you stop here. Anyways, that's cores. Let's move on. Marathon and then CleanSpark. Man, at this rate, this video will never end. I'm just going to keep talking. Daily here. Looking at it here on the daily RSI. It's not the best look, but it's not the worst look. I mean, you're definitely in a position of strength, but relative neutrality, of course. And as the price is, of course, you are as well. Say, as the price is, of course you are. I mean, like, as the price is neutral, of course the RSI is neutral. I mean, you're at an area where it wouldn't be crazy to bounce just looking at the price. You could move lower. This one's kind of hard to say. I wouldn't think you move lower, because if Marathon does move lower from here, right, like, you'd probably go lower than this low, and I don't think that's going to happen. So I would look for a higher low than this relative low here at about 1760. You're at 1947 now, so that, I mean, Friday could have been the low. It absolutely could have been, but I don't think that it is. Hold on. All right, do you want to come on the camera or something, or no? You can if you want to. That's my brother. My brother's here. I'm at a little family get together for the wedding. So he wanted to say hi. This is my brother.
Much less funny.
No, he's pretty damn funny, actually. Now you have to guess in the comments. I don't know if I said who is, but who's older, who's younger? Who is it? Which one? Which one of us? They can't really hear. This is what they see, right? It's like, it's just like a small screen like that, right? Like that's that there. But yeah, I think it's going to go down a little bit, but I don't think we're going to go below that low. If we were to see something lower than this low, you'd probably run the risk of breaking this whole kind of dynamic that you have in the first place. I mean, like, I would think then we'd be looking for deeper retracements based off of this range, which you'd go down to like 12. I just don't see that happening personally. It could happen, but I don't see that happening. I did see that more so over here. I love you too. Good night. Sleep tight.
Have a good night.
Hope you get good sleep.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Drive safe travels.
Thank you. Love you, bro. Yeah, that's my brother. That's my brother. I don't like the 3 hour on Marathon. All this does kind of suggest that you would go lower, I would say. But again, not too much lower. The reason why I'm taking this low to this high is this was like your fake out breakout, so I'm not going to take that high. This was your overall move, so I'm basing the range off of this here. You are rejecting your 236. I mean, damn, man, maybe it kind of looks like you do want to go down here. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't think that that's where you're going to go. But then I look at the weekly. I don't think it's in the cards, man. Maybe you can go below this low. Okay, maybe you can go below the low there. But I don't think you're going to break this trend line. I don't think you would. Maybe you come down. What do you got on the relative fib here? Let's just see. Low to high. Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe you do go down to 17 to 16 bucks. Maybe even a little bit lower than that. But I mean, you could just as easily hold this low here as well. I don't know. Let's see how you do next week. We'll keep an eye on Marathon for sure. If you hold this area, if you can get above $20.42 next week, I would have faith that that is your higher low, and you're not going to move down to these areas. I'm not so certain about this one. I'm going to keep it with what I started with. I'm not so certain about this one, but I do think you want to move a little bit lower, I suppose. And if I'm wrong, then that is your low, and you're going to move above this high pretty soon, but we'll see. Time will tell. Anyways, that's Marathon. Not the best. I got a little distracted with my brother there, but CleanSpark here. It's a trick question, guys. We're twins. No, that's not actually the truth. High to low. Though him and I, we actually are the exact same height. And before I was a father, we were the same weight too, so very, very similar in size. High to low, 618, tipped it, found resistance, second attempt, broke above it. Now you're holding the 6.9 area. I like it. It looks good overall. I mean, I don't think you're going lower than this at all. 13% up this week. Yeah, you're inevitably moving higher. Whenever you break above 30 bucks, you're looking like you want to go to new all-time highs in a very short amount of time, right? So I do think your next kind of target area is going to be up here around this 886 100 area, so around your all-time highs. I think that's going to be your next target. Kind of how this was a resting point, this was a resting point, this was a resting point, right? I think you're going to see your next resting point up there. And just look at that perfect straight line as it goes up, of course, respecting the fibs all the way. And then inevitably, when you are at that point, guys, it's going to be a very short amount of time before you see these triple-digit numbers come into play. Could be as early as like the beginning of next year, first quarter, second quarter of next year that you're in these areas. I don't know if you're in these areas by the end of this year. You might be reaching for them. Perhaps you're above this high by the end of this year, but I don't know if you're in these areas by the end of this year. Anyways, CleanSpark, we're just waiting. It's the same thing. I don't think that we're going below this anymore. I used to think that we were going to go down here, but I don't think we're going to break this low. I think we're going to hold it. Looking at the weekly, you're at a prime position to bounce right off of this 50 zone. The daily is neutral. Doesn't really look like it's picking a side, but I think the price is picking a side, and I think you're holding support at key areas. You have like a pretty damn. That's not a double bottom actually. You bounced right off your green line. I don't know. I think it's going to hold. I think if you were to break down, you would have done it already. I think you're going to move up, but time will tell. We'll see. CleanSpark, probably next target is like to 29.50, probably above 30 bucks is what I would say. High to low, yeah, 31, 36, let's see around there, something like that. That's my best bet for CleanSpark. Absolutely it could go lower, but if it does, it wouldn't go too much lower than like 1180, something like that. IREN and then Argo blockchain, I think that's what that is, IREN. Iris Energy, you're up 25.5% this week. That's great, man. Yeah, IREN is definitely stealing the spotlight in my opinion right now. What did Wolf do this past week? Right, because you're up 26.86, 25.5. I mean, those are doing well. Wolf and IREN. Okay, so definitely in a breakout move. Nice volume, solid RSI readings. That's the highest RSI reading you've ever had on a weekly perspective. You can go higher, but generally speaking, that does mean, again, maybe not price-wise, but time-wise, you are very near your high. That could be your high. It absolutely is possible. Not your all-time high, just the same as like this was a high, this was a high, this was a high. You know, it takes a little bit of time to consolidate before you move up higher. Though, in my opinion, the way I would look at this is kind of like a long phase of consolidation here. Kind of a weird but long phase of consolidation. You've just broken out of that, so you really could have some legs. Let's see. All-time high to all-time low. 618 area resistance a couple times. Yeah, you probably find resistance here, because generally speaking, even if you do see extensions, which is less common whenever you find resistance multiple times on your 618 zone, but it does happen. Even if you do end up making your way up here, which I think you could, finding resistance here several times tells me that you will likely find resistance in this area, which you've already pierced through that. So if you are to go up, maybe you go up to like 1935, but I would doubt you actually even see that line. I think you do find resistance a little bit lower, if not exactly where you found resistance last week. These high points here on a closing basis, that's at like 1733. So I doubt you break above like $18. You got 1322. Let's look at the daily here. Very hot on the daily RSI. Man, I had a cookie before making this video, and it's like stuck in my throat. I keep trying to clear my throat without making noise. I think that's your high, man. I think that's it. A lot of people, you know, you might have been looking for this bearish divergence this whole time, and it just kept climbing, and there's no more bearish divergence. On this attempt here, maybe there's some bearish divergence, and then it just kept climbing, so it's all gone. To be fair, your volume's climbing too. I mean, if you were to go up higher, it wouldn't be too much. It wouldn't be too crazy, but I am calling for that to be the high. I think that's your high for the foreseeable future, for the weeks to come, maybe even the months to come. Just for a little bit, probably just for a little bit of time. We'll see, but I do think that's a momentary high. We'll see you down at, let's just see how $10 does for now. You're at 1322. And then from there you probably move up, but we'll see. Time will tell. IREN. ARBK. I think that is Argo blockchain. Yeah. Weekly. Higher lows, consolidation phase, or accumulation phase, however you want to look at it. Relative low to high on this move here. See, right? 618 held its support several times. The 618-69 zone did. Finally, you break through it, and now the 786-886 area is holding as resistance, or support in this case, actually. If you go lower, it won't be by too much. I doubt that you would break below like $1.12. You could, but I doubt you do. Daily RSI is so neutral, as is the price. I think you want to move lower. I do. I think you do want to move down, if not to about $1.12. You know, definitely lower than where you're at now. Relative low to high, $1.20, $1.12, somewhere in there. Argo, yes. Some downside, but inevitably, I mean, that's a decent looking weekly RSI. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing did see higher highs past this inevitably. It's just a matter of where's your low, because I can draw this high here, but where's the low, right? Because if you see this line up here, these extensions, they change obviously as I try to find the low, and if this isn't the low, which I don't think it is, then that could imply lower prices. So let's assume it is the low, because if it is, then that would keep these targets here. If it's not, that means that they're just higher. But inevitably, when you do look to make your next high, which could be, you know, maybe by the end of this year, maybe sometime early next year, $6.30, $9.80, probably beyond that, just by little amounts, probably beyond that. That's just like a rough estimation. So $1.29 now, that's not bad gains, you know, in less than a year's time probably. But maybe not within this year. Again, I think by the end of this year you could be up in these zones, but probably, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Like if you were to move up, I guess, yeah, it could happen by the end of this year, maybe. You can move up fast in a short amount of time. We've seen it, right? We've definitely seen it. It's hard to say. Yeah, I'm going to stick with it. If not by the end of this year, sometime very early next year is what I would say. So short amount of time to make some decent gains. It definitely does look good, but I think it moves lower first. Genuinely, I don't think that's low. If it is, cool, these are your targets. But if not, well then, you know, if it moves down, it's at $1.29 right now. All right, actually that low was at $1.24. If the low was at $1.12 or $1.13, you know, then it's at 646 to 1038, I think is what that is, versus 630 to 980. So it's just minor differences. It's nothing too significant. BITO is the last one. BITO Pro Shares. All right, looking at this here, it's very much right. This is an ETF, so it's very much tied to Bitcoin. I mean, let's just throw an indicator on there. BTC USD, not BTCV, BTC USD on Coinbase. Apply. Right, week to week, day to day. Pretty damn correlated. They're not perfectly correlated though, are they? It's kind of interesting. Shouldn't it be? I don't know. Maybe there's like a lack of liquidity. I really don't know why it's not. Oh hey, dividends. You offer dividends. That's not bad dividends, honestly. Wow. It's better than it was. Hey, dude. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Huh. I mean, it's not like insane, right? Like you're not gonna. It's not like life changing, but I mean that's somewhat significant there. That's what, like 5% dividends or something like that, right? If I'm doing my math right, because 10% would be 2.4, so it's a little greater than 5%. That's not bad for dividends. I mean, yeah. They even gave 2 out in 1 month. I don't understand, man. Maybe that's just a thing. I don't know. BITO, excluding the idea that it's from Bitcoin, right? Obviously, it's from Bitcoin, but I'm gonna do the. I'm just gonna ignore that and just give it like a general analysis based off what it looks like. Well, looking at the RSI, looks pretty damn weak. I would think you're going lower. At best, you have the hopes of finding support at like $23.56 to $24.11, somewhere in that area. At worst, you're going down to $21.53, maybe even just below 20 bucks itself. I don't think you go below 20 bucks if you do go down there. But I genuinely, personally, I am considering this area. There's a decent chance you could find support here. You could have some kind of like double bottom and then move out from there, right? Coming in like that, it could happen. But I'm kind of in favor of prices below $21.50, but we'll see. And that's all I got, guys. So hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you all for being here. I got nothing else I want to say. Yeah, no mosquitoes tonight, thankfully. But yeah, that's all I got. Take care. Bye-bye.